Oh, hey, there we go. There we go. There we go. In the stream, Dave. Alright, we just gonna try this. And let's see how it goes. Okay, so. Been working on, well, actually, first of all, let's make sure that we have enough volume here. We should. It feels actually kind of like I'm peaking a little bit. Check 1, 2. Maybe down just a hair. Yeah. And then we're gonna start recording. Okay. What's up, y'all? It's Craig. So I've been building and rebuilding my pedal board recently, and I got a couple of things that I've been trying to like figure out where stuff belongs in the board. But the main people are making noise in the main thing is the Aspen One germanium. I've been trying to figure out exactly where it needs to go on the chain and how it sounds and all that. So I thought while I was dialing stuff in that I would give let me turn that off. That I would give folk a rundown of my my pedal board and the way that I sort of operate this stuff. Let's see. And I'm gonna cut it up. I'm gonna run the live and then I'm gonna cut it up and make it into maybe a couple of videos. Maybe I'll do one specifically on the Aspen One. And maybe I'll just leave it live and see what happens. So yeah, basically let's do a brief rundown. First of all, I'm wireless today, so I can move around a little bit. Playing my my Starcaster. You can't see that. Never mind. I'm just doing it from back here. Playing my Starcaster with the Seymour Duncan Cyclone Filtertron style pickups. Into the Tonex pedal with a Morgan P12 cab or amp and cab combo situation. I don't know how to describe it. The Morgan P12 capture, basic tone sounds. Ooh, let me get comfortable here. Sounds like this. I forgot to turn off all my delays. 1 second. There we go. Basic tone sounds like this. Right, so that is a little bit of reverb still, because playing bone dry sucks and I hate it. And I play a lot of worship music, so we're gonna have some delay and reverb, but let's go down to actually channel 1 here. Let's go to patch 1. And then we can shut off the delays again. because I think this is a plate. Yeah, how about that? So, bridge pickup, middle pickup, and I think I said that backwards. Neck pickup, middle pickup, that's where I live, and bridge pickup. Right, so that's nothing. That's just plain old amp and a little bit of verb. So signal chain starts with the Jackson Audio Bloom. It's my compressor, EQ pedal, and boost. Usually compressor is always on, EQ is always on. I like to cut a little bit of low end from this particular guitar. And then if I use a set of single coils, I'll add it back. Just the compressor and a little bit of verb. Actually, let's do. Yeah, I always love the Bloom is an awesome compressor. I love it a lot. It's a should be keeping track of anything happening in the chat. I like it a lot. It is a optical compressor. Feels really good. Sounds pretty good. I usually keep the mix pretty high, but I do cut it. I do cut a little bit out, about 70%. Normally, right now I have it a little bit tighter, but I usually cut a little bit of that dry signal back in there, just to give me a little bit more of the dynamics and things like that. So that is the Jackson Audio Bloom. The boost, actually, let's play a little bit with the boost. So if that's your, like, yeah, so if that's your regular tone, hit that boost. Give you a little bit more gain, a little bit of like push for the amps, or for the amp, and it feels pretty good. I like it a lot. So it's a little squishy. It's pretty squishy. And then running out of the Bloom here, it goes into the Wampler Bell. Wampler Bell is a Noble's ODR1 style situation. Pretty good sounding drive. We'll come back to all this stuff in just a second, because I want to get down to the Solodallas, because with that's an always on pedal for me. Next is right now the JHS Double Barrel V4. I've got the Morning Glory side set pretty. It's clean-ish. All of my drives are kind of clean-ish, but the Morning Glory is pretty clean. And then I use the boost after it or before it to kind of kick the amp into overdrive. And then down the line here is the Aspen One. This is still not Velcroed to the board because I just started messing with it as a replacement for the Kilt 10. Where is the camera? There we go. As a replacement for the Kilt 10, the Kilt V2. I'll go into it a little bit, but the Kilt V2 was on my board for a long time, and then as I was looking at the Aspen, the Kilt 10 came out, so I decided to put the Aspen on hold and grab the Kilt 10. And then the Aspen One came out with a boost, and so now that is kind of, I think, where we're gonna land, but we'll see. I'm gonna play a little bit with that. Next is this has become an always on pedal for me since I got it. The Solodallas Compan Drive CD65, really good sounding, and then the Benson Germanium Boost over here as a lead lift. The HX1, anybody who's seen my video about the HX1 knows that I love this thing to death. So the HX1 is right now set as modulation. Sometimes I use it as a quarter note delay. Sometimes I use it as pitch. It all just kind of depends on what I need. But it's usually anything that can go before the amp. Sometimes I like to use it as a delay to give it that amp push thing, because I run all of my delays and reverbs from the HX Stomp here in post. So sometimes I'll run a quarter note delay into the Tonex pedal, but usually it's modulation or pitch. Right now I've got it on modulation, and then I've got a chain of delays and reverbs in there, one analog, one digital, one tape, and the dynamic hall and glitz reverbs, a little bit of compression at the top end, some EQ that I can boost or cut as needed for different circumstances and guitars and such. And the retro reel, which kind of always is on to a certain degree. So let me turn on the Compan Drive so y'all can hear how that sounds, because this is kind of my always on clean tone. Here's a little bit of neck pickup. Middle pickup. Yeah, love that. I don't have the Compan Drive up super loud, but I do have a little bit of a volume boost. So without, actually a little brighter than normal today, and with. So when you pick heavy, it breaks up real nice. But when you pick lightly, it kind of does the. Love how that sounds. Yeah, this pedal never turns off for me. So I run the Aspen and the Kilt, etc., through the lens of this Solodallas CD65. But we'll just do without it for a moment, so you can kind of like hear what the Aspen One sounds like on its own. I'm gonna run through the board real quick. Just turn stuff on how I have it set, and then when we get to the Aspen, we'll circle back to the Aspen and we'll hang out there for a little bit. But yeah. So my basic clean tone is the CD65 and the compressor and the EQ. And then I always have a little bit of delay and reverb on. So we're going to actually go back to let's jump back to the last set we had. Trying to remember the riff. Be easier if I could stand up here. Do my little like a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb, just to give me something to play with. Here's the bell. A little bit of tube screamery kind of action, but it's different. I like this. Woof. Don't like that. Yeah, I like the bell a lot. The bell has, I use a lot of bass cutting because these Filtertrons are pretty low and heavy. And then I like a darker amp. So, I use the Solodallas to brighten up again. Even when I was doing the AC30 captures and stuff and the Ruby and things like that, I would always play it really dark. And then use drives to brighten it back up. Just because it gives a little bit of versatility and you can kind of shape the tone the way that you want. I really like the bell. The bell, a lot of things have changed on the board over the years, but ever since I got the bell has been on the board. Even the Tumnus, the clone that Wampler does, although a really good pedal, hasn't lived on the board in the same way that the bell has. I am not typically... I love tube screamers on bass. I'm not typically a tube screamer guy when it comes to guitar. But I do, that being said, have the Moonshine on the other half of the V4. It sounds like this. For context, here's the bell. And that's the Moonshine. A little bit louder, a little bit gainier. I really like this for that like heavy chunking part in No One Like the Lord, just the so yeah, that's the moonshine. I used to use the moonshine a lot on bass, and I still like it a lot on bass. The double barrel V4 is the rare pedal that is like a dual pedal that I got a few years back that I wish that I had purchased the pedals separately. That rarely happens when I get a dual drive. I usually like things that can do multiple things, hence the way that the board is laid out. But there's something about the moonshine and that clean blend and the way that it sounds on bass that I love. And I tried as best as I could to get it to be a slightly gainier bell sound, and I think it accomplishes that pretty well. Ugh, pretend I played that right. There we go. And then with it engaged. And then the bell. Yeah, so like cleaner. I actually kind of like them stacked together. I feel like you add a little bit of that, like, you know. But yeah, the bell I think is kind of where I like to live. A little bit less. that's back. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Yikes. That's very concerning. It just kind of like cut out on me there. I apologize. Okay, hold on. I think we're good. I think we're back. Oh man, yeah, I am so sorry about that. Okay, well, I think we're back. Anyway, I was talking about the bell. Yeah, the bell is solid. I like the bell a lot. It does a lot of the Tube Screamer E things. I keep it pretty low gain. But I like it right there. And then I like the Tube Screamer moonshine situation. To be just a little bit gainier. Yeah. Other side of the V4 is the Morning Glory. That sounds like this. Love that in the bell stack. Push that with a little bit of the boost. That's a fun sound. Sometimes I'll use the bell as like a stage 1 plus. Or like if I'm in like wash mode. Like that a lot. Gives it just a little bit of definition and clarity. Which, you know, it's not like I'm lacking for that. It just allows me to pick a little bit lighter, which is good. So, one of my favorite sounds that I've discovered recently is actually that Morning Glory bell combination as like a lead thing. When you hit the boost in the Aspen, right? So we have that like. That little bit of extra like power in the front. that a lot. So yeah, the reason I have this is an insane drive section. Um, it is largely unnecessary. But the reason that it's so big is because I kind of like to paint by numbers with this stuff rather than like having big drive sound quiet, like rather than like go from quiet to a massive drive sound. I like the idea of being able to step up, right? So I like quiet, a little bit of picking that like makes it a little harder. Let me drop actually back down to something a little less egregious. So like that's normal, right? Then I can lighten up on my picking. Right. And then when I want to do like a big like arpeggiated or thing, or like the rake thing, that can happen, and then I can kick on another drive and get a little heavier, kick on another drive and get even heavier, and then go over the top, and that's fun to me to be able to like sort of like do the dance a little bit. Like I don't do it with the delays and such. I program all of that in advance so that I don't have to do the tap dancing for the delays, but I do have a tap tempo switch, and I keep the tap tempo on the HX Stomp too, but I don't know. This is my OG HX Stomp. I've had this since it came out. It's been repaired. It's had stuff spilled on it. It's been through the ringer. So certain things on it work. Like the sounds all still work, and the jacks on the back all still work because I got them replaced. But the tap tempo doesn't really work that well. It works, but it doesn't it's not super reliable anymore. So hence the foot switch. The foot switch is really useful for that, and then it also controls presets. Excuse me. It also controls presets. So whenever I need to switch songs, I just hit B, and that takes me up to the next song. But yeah, I really like kind of programming all of the delays, reverbs, and everything in here first. The amp really doesn't change. I have a AC30 and a Milkman up here as well for amps, but I've really been digging the PR12. It does the like chimey thing really well, like when you put especially when you put the command drive pair it with that. Does that chimey thing really well, but it's not super harsh. And then it does that like full thick fendery thing, but it doesn't like flub out as much. And it kind of has a little bit of that Marshall-y thing going, like that JTM 45 thing. It's kind of like a best of everything situation for me, where I kind of need to be flexible with the amps, and I don't want to have to like dance from amp to amp. Sometimes sometimes you're playing an old Jesus Culture song and it requires a matchless, right? But for the main parts of the stuff that I'm playing recently, either at my own work, my own studio stuff, any sessions that I might be doing for other people, stuff for my band, stuff for stuff for church, stuff for other churches that I play at sometimes. like most of that is handled really well with this amp, so I don't usually switch off of it anymore. But it is a super solid kind of platform for a variety of drive tones that all sort of sound similar but have like different textures and characters. So yeah, the drive section is ridiculous. But anyway, let's do the Aspen real quick, because the Morning Glory is well trodden. The Moonshine is less well trodden, but like if you don't like tube screamers, the the Moonshine is great. So like for me, it's great, and the Bell's kind of the same way. If you want that like mid forward thing, but you don't want a tube screamer necessarily, the Bell is a really good ODR clone. Now that the new Nobles has the bass knob on the outside, that's really useful, but the Bell was kind of first in that for me. And if I could find like a lot of the like blues breaker ODR things that are together don't have the bass contour, which for me I like and use pretty frequently. So like something like the Protein doesn't really fit as well as like two overdrives do. But who knows? It might. This spot is open to changing. This is kind of the flexi spot. I know I want a kilt-esque thing here. I know I want the Bell or another ODR1 situation here. So this is kind of the flexible spot. This is never leaving. Probably going to buy another one. This is never coming off the board. This sounds fantastic. And the Benson Boost, we haven't gotten there yet, but the Benson Boost is also great. I don't know. That might be a little flexible as well, but probably not. I think just having that extra lift at the end makes it very happy and useful. But let's look at the Aspen. Let me turn off. I'm going to turn off the CD65. Just a reminder of the basic clean tone. Kind of dark. Let's go back down to 1. And let's cut off the well, I'll keep the 1, but we'll cut the quarter note off. There we go. Dotted 8th delay. Because the analog kind of stays out of the way. Let's mess with the Aspen. So the boost, it's the Aspen. Let's pull out the manual. Quote, the Aspen was designed to solve the most common complaints with this style of circuit, low gain settings that lose volume. To fix that, we reworked the stage into a boost, the final stage into a boost, which gives the pedal more usable output across its range. Because of that, the volume works differently. Good rule of thumb is that anything above 9 o'clock is a boost. Anything below that starts pulling level back. So, yeah. I usually kind of leave my kilt. So like here, let's see, can we get, there we go. The settings that I have here, which is like volume slightly pushed, gain down, tone slightly pushed, is kind of where I like to leave the kilt. I actually, if I'm playing the kilt anywhere other than behind the command drive, I like to crank the tone a little bit to get some of that like clarity back, because the one of my main concerns with the kilt, the reason why I love it on bass, and one of the main concerns that I have for it in other places, is that it does this kind of mushy drive thing that, like, it's very fuzzy, it's very mushy, it doesn't have a lot of clarity and definition unless you turn the gain or turn the tone up to kind of give that, unless you turn the tone up to kind of give that back to it. So naturally, it is a little bit dark. So let's start with let's just play my settings on the Aspen. This is the Filtertron's middle pickup. Right? So the reason I keep it dark is because watch what happens when I hit the Solodallas. See how that opens up? So the reason I keep my tone dark is because the Solodallas really opens up that. That's like one of my favorite combinations. It's a little scratchy. You know what I mean? But right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just sounds great, man. At least I think so. So the Aspen without is kind of like, you know, standard kilt stuff. But even where the tone is, it's still, I think, a little bit more defined and a little bit more clear than the kilt tends to be. The V10 fixed a lot of that. But it's still a little bit darker. So like let's just go knobs to noon. We're gonna turn the bass all the way up because that's where the actual like default position is, where you get all the bass. And I'm gonna turn it down just a hair for the knobs to noon thing. Like, come on, man. That's crazy. Yeah, man. Like, it just sounds good at noon. Like, I don't leave it there because with the command drive, that's too much, right? Like, so. Some people might like that. I think it's a little too much. So I usually crank the volume a little bit, cut the gain down a little bit. Right? Okay. So there's 3 switches on here, just like on the kilt, but the difference is your bass is controlled by a knob, which I love a potentiometer for bass, hence the bell. I think it's a potentiometer. The knob. I like a bass knob, just like I like a mix knob, and I do think that it sounds pretty great full bore, but I actually, you know, one of the problems I have with like fuzz and stuff is that it not only does it get too fuzzy, it's just like fizzy on the top end, but like it muddies up the low end waters. And as a bass player, I often think about bass frequencies, and so for me, it's like I want the guitar player out of my way when I'm playing, and I stay out of their way when I'm playing. So, when I play guitar, I think the same way. I'm like, I want to stay out of the bass player's way. That's not to say I can't get chunky, right? But I want it to be like clear and not like flubby, and that like I want it to be tight, which is why I use a tighter compressor, and I don't really want it to be flubby. So it's hard to get. It's hard to get that with all the bass rolled back in. But even with all of it rolled back in, it's not that bad. I think one of the benefits of the Kilt / Aspen / Expandora circuit is that even with all the bass in it, it's still pretty, like, it still cuts through. So and let's turn off the CD65. So that's the way the Aspen sounds. And then there is 2 switches up here. One, so switch 1 is like the distortion switch. Switch 2 is the overdrive switch, which confused me a little bit because it's backwards from how it is on the Kilt. G1 on the Kilt and G2 is overdrive, and G2 on the Kilt is the distortion / fuzz, depending on whether or not you have G1 down or up. SW1, so switch 1, controls the distortion / fuzz, and switch 2 controls the overdrive, and they're also reversed from how they are on the Kilt. So if you have switch 1 and 2 up, that is the standard switches down on the Kilt, and that's usually how I leave it. And I use the red remote to kick on switch 1. Great distortion sound, even at this low gain setting. Really, really nice. That's how I kind of like it, actually. And then the last switch here is the order switch for the boost. So you can have the boost come in before and kind of push it, which is up, right? I think. Hold on. Right. Or you can have it down and have it come after, where it lifts. So. Super useful. Like it just any pedal that has a boost switch on it or an additional switch that gives you another flavor of drive is kind of my bag. Even my compressor has a little boost on it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 boosts technically. Really, it's 3 because I leave the Solodallas always on, but like 4 stages of boost and really only 2, 3. Well, no, I guess it's 4 stages of overdrive as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only consider this 1 though. I rarely ever use the tube screamer, even though it sounds pretty good. I use the I just use the Morning Glory side most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of options there of like how to maneuver it. Like let's crank the gain and turn the volume down and see what happens here. Yeah. Yeah, I love this circuit, man. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Heck yeah, man. That sounds so good. Okay, and then if you want that lead boost, so like you say you're doing, let's just keep with where I'm at here. Woo! Pretend I did not play that terrible note. That's why I keep the drive lower and the tone lower. Like, it still sounds good. It's just too much for me on a given Sunday. Yeah. I don't know why I turned that off. So yeah, let's turn a little bit of that bass down and then crank that gain all the way up and just see what happens. I don't ever use this much gain. Yeah, you kind of gotta do inversions if you're gonna do that. You can't. The cowboy chords don't work like that. I say that and then it sounds cool. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to noon here. Turn the bass back. Okay. So switch 2 down is the overdrive. So yeah, they got like real chunky. I say that's the overdrive. Let me double check. Yeah, switch 2 down is the overdrive. Yep, I was right. Switch 2 down is the overdrive, but it is very like it's got that bass down. Yeah. Cut off the command drive. Yeah, you see how much it opens that up? Like, in order to do that, I have to crank the tone, right? So it's not so it's not that the kill excuse me, I keep saying the kill. It's not that the Aspen can't do that. It's just that in order to do it, I have to crank the tone up. Whereas with the command drive, I don't have to crank the tone up. With that being said, it sounds really good, man. I'm gonna turn the command drive back on. Turn the tone down. Boost. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna turn off the command drive for the fuzz, because I'm not a huge fan of fuzz generally. And the X Pandora fuzz is like, ooh. Let's see if I can. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Nope. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't I don't like I don't like fuzz, but I like that. It's very spitty. I do actually prefer the fuzz on the Kilt 10. Only because it doesn't do the spitty thing as much. But that's not even like high gain, man. That's just like fuzz on low. Yeah, I don't know. And then what happens if you boost it? Yeah, wow, yeah, man, sheesh. Good Lord. Okay. Yeah, and that was the Solodallas off, actually, too. So. This might be my favorite combination of drives, honestly. Just the Solodallas keeps it nice and open. And it does something real, like it adds a little bit of that fuzziness to the tone, especially because the germanium kind of smooths out some of the harsher edges of the Aspen. but it's very fuzzy still. Um, let's try, instead of boosting before the Solodallas, let's try the Benson boost and boost after the Solodallas. So. I wonder what would happen if let's do. That's cool. I mean, it's not nearly as. Yeah. I like that a lot. I mess with that. I mess with that a lot. Let's see. Where are we here? Yeah. Yeah. Good God. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I mess with that a lot. The cool thing about the Aspen really is the flexibility of having that boost, determining where you can put it, having the switches, determining where you can put those. Apparently, the back jack here is a TRS jack that I could use to use the red remote to control the additional gain stages. But honestly, the way that this is shaping up, let's chat a little bit. I've done a lot of toning. Let me chat a little bit. So the main thing. Hold on. Let's set that right there. The main thing about the Aspen versus the Kilt, right? The main thing about the Aspen versus the Kilt 10. Where are we? Here we go. The Kilt 10 specifically, but I have a Kilt. Hold on. Let's grab that off the board here. Just for fun. I'm also gonna turn off my speaker here because it's getting late. Oh yeah. Grab that off the sideboard. Okay. So we have a number of Expandora circuits here. All of which, two of which are the Kilt. So we have the Kilt V2. Where's my focus? There we go. Somewhere here. We have the Kilt V2. And then we have the Kilt 10, just to show that I am actively a Kilt fan. And a fanboy specifically of the Kilt. I love this circuit, man. I love it on bass. I love it on guitar. I have very few qualms with the V10. The V2 has earned a little bit of ire, not from me specifically, but from like the larger community that wanted certain things from it that it was just not prepped to do. What is glorious about the Aspen to me is that like I haven't had the ability, the pleasure to play the Kilt V1. I started playing guitar well after the Kilt was out. I knew of it as a bass thing for some of the like modern worship bands that I was listening to kind of understand the genre. But like outside of that context, and the context of even like on worship boards, it wasn't as popular as something like, say, the Morning Glory, right? It was around. It just wasn't that, the I saw it more on bass boards than I did on guitar boards. Not that it wasn't there, but the V1 especially that had the boost, still to this day sounds incredible every time I hear it. I just have not had the chance to play it. But I own multiple copies of the V2, and I own the V10, and I think for me, the Kilt is like kind of a perfect medium to, well, really just medium gain to high-ish gain drive for this kind of music, for like ambient stuff, for modern worship, which is just like ambient was just like ambient post rock like style stuff that I like, right? Even on modern stuff like some of the more like gospel-esque things that have been like popping around, I think there is a place for a Expandora style circuit. The DRV does a thing. Obviously the Rat does a thing. I have a Pack Rat over there. And the Rat has always sort of been, to me, like when I think of distortion, I think of the Rat. But like the Rat to me has always sort of been a trickier pedal to dial in to get right than the Kilt, than the Expandora style circuit. And the thing that I like about the Expandora is that it can do everything that the Rat can do to, various degrees. But like, the Kilt can sound like the DRV to some extent. It can sound like a Rat. It can sound more like the OG Expandora. I haven't had a chance to play the real deal Expandora, the circular Johns. But there is a certain muffled quality that you get out of the V2 that is really hard to dial out. There's a sweet spot somewhere between like 12 and 2 for me. And it's not exactly 1, but it's like, it's like somewhere around in the middle there, between 12 and 2, that really solidifies what the Kilt can do. And the Kilt, anything before that is kind of a little too muddy. Anything after that is a little bit too harsh, in my opinion. So it really just lives and breathes right in that zone. And if you go too low, you lose the sort of like expressiveness of the drive, and if you go too high, then you're into that fuzz territory, which the Aspens sounded great, but the original like spitty fuzz thing is not really my vibe. And so the Kilt itself has always sort of been I love this drive. It is probably my favorite overdrive, but I've had like qualms about it for years. And then along comes the Kilt V10. Sorry about that. Along comes the Kilt 10 to fix a lot of those problems. So when I was shopping around for I actually wasn't shopping for the Aspen. I wasn't shopping for the Kilt 10 either when that happened. I was kind of just like, I saw that the Kilt 10 came out, and I immediately was like, I have to buy it, but I don't like it was going to happen one way or another. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do. And it really did fix 90% of the problems that I had. I'm going to sit it here somewhere. Whatever. I don't know. It really did fix like 90% of the problems that I had with the Kilt V2, which I'm going to sit right here. Right, there we go. So the Kilt V1, never got a chance to play it. But loved the idea of the boost. The Kilt V2, played it a lot. Love it on bass because I got to control the low end and the top end coming back in through the HX Stomp. The Stomp XL was how I run it on my bass board. And yeah, it just the added flexibility before it and after it allows you to kind of really get the best out of the pedal. Because just by itself, the V2 doesn't really do the thing. And maybe, well, it does a thing. It does its thing. But it doesn't do specifically the thing I want a drive to do, which is like play well with others. Like the Kilt, the Expandora like circuit that has, come out of this section. Like I don't know a lot about the OG Expandora, but the Kilt style circuit just doesn't play well with others usually. So the Kilt 10 really kind of delivered on this idea of let's make the Kilt play well with others. And I think to me that was like the most important part of that particular, like those particular changes that they made to the circuit. Like additional volume, great. Having that little extra bit of like low gain character to like sacrifice the high gain stuff, that's what I wanted. But really like the clarity, the headroom, the additional like little bit of give that it had, and the ability to clean up a little bit, because that's not something that the V2 was good at doing at all. And the V10 or the 10 is better at doing that. But man, I like really dig the Aspen. The thing is, you can make the Kilt 10. You can make the Kilt V2 sound like some of the other stuff that's out in the same style, but you really can't make it sound like the 10. And you really can't make the V2 sound like the 10, but you can make the 10 sound like the V2. And you can make the 10 sound like the Aspen and the Aspen sound like the 10. In certain spots, but the Aspen just has like a little bit more, a little bit extra that even the 10 doesn't get to. And really, I think it comes down to that boost. Like the magic would, I think, be, for me at least, it would be Kilt 10 in a package like this, like Kilt 10, on one side, boost on the other. And for me, that's kind of what the Aspen does. It is a little gainier. It does have a little bit more grit, especially the germanium has a little bit of like it smooths out a lot of that top end stuff, but it still has a little bit of hair that I think is relatively pleasing. Like and it does still do the sort of like muffled Kilt thing if that's what you're looking for. But ultimately, I think the tone knob is infinitely more useful than on the V2. The 10 fixes a lot of these problems. Is kind of what I'm getting at. I think, gun to my head, it's the Aspen because of the additional stuff, the Aspen One specifically, because of the boost. So that's going on the board for sure. And it's because of the boost, honestly. If the Kilt 10 came out in a dual pedal form with a boost and still could do the red remote stuff, I think that would be nearly perfect. And the Aspen is that. Therefore, I think the Aspen one is nearly perfect. I need to grab a silicon one so I can really do a shootout between the two of them. And if y'all want to see a shootout between all three, the Aspen One, Germanium, the Kilt 10, and the Kilt V2, let me know. I think I might do that. That could be, that could be fun. I would have to, I'd have to like do it specifically on a different board because I don't want to tear my whole board up to do that. But you know, the cool. Okay, so here's the part of the video where I tell you that I'm not sponsored by anybody. I unfortunately have spent money on all of these pedals, and therefore my opinions are my own, and will continue to be so. I think for me, the incremental step increases of quality in the Kilt, like jumping from the Kilt V1 to the Kilt V2 to the Kilt 10 is like steps in quality of like gaining something to lose something, right? Like you lose a little bit of the craziness of the fuzz in order to gain a little bit of lower gain, usefulness. You lose a little bit of the like character of the drive when you go low like that. But you've got more headroom, you've got more room to play, you can stack drives with it for once. Because like especially when I was starting out with learning the Kilt, every video I watched, people were like, I don't stack it with anything because it doesn't stack nice. And I find that I really like how the bell, like the ODR, stacks into the Kilt, even the Kilt V2. I really like how they stacked. But the Kilt 10 fixed a lot of those issues for me. And the Aspen has fixed the issues that I had even with the 10. I do think still that I prefer to run the Aspen One into the CD65 with a slightly darker tone to let that open up what the Aspen is doing, as opposed to running it with the tone a little hotter or a little brighter. I do think that there's something really nice about the way that the bass knob functions versus the standard Kilt switch. So the ability to dial in more or less bass, well, maybe not more, but like your full amount of bass versus like the amount that's cut by the switch versus like more or less of that cut, is super useful. And the main reason that I wanted the Aspen over the Kilt is because the knob makes more sense than the switch. That's really like, honestly, that's all it takes to sell me on the Aspen is the fact that the bass switch on the Kilt is a knob here. That in of itself is enough for me to be like, oh yeah, okay. Worth it, right? Like, and then the drive setting on the Kilt, the drive setting on the Kilt is nice, but it is a little bit crunchier. Excuse me. The drive section on the Kilt is nice, but it is a little crunchier than the overdrive on the Aspen. In certain respects, but it does have like a nice, like, you can smooth it out with the 10 in a way that you really couldn't with the V2, but the Aspen does that as well. So like it's really tricky, because it's like, well, I'm definitely going to keep all of my Kilts because I love the Kilt, but like really the bass knob and the boost alone make it hard to justify leaving the 10 on the board instead of the Aspen, right? So I think that Josh and the team at JHS have like fixed most of my qualms with the Kilt via the Kilt 10. That being said, because they do not offer the boost, and they still have a switch rather than a knob, to me the Aspen goes on the board. And the Kilt 10 maybe goes to my baseboard, and retires the V2 that's on there, or maybe goes to a sideboard that I can, like, just have around. But even then, it's like, man, do we put the Aspen on the main board, or do we put the Aspen on the sideboard? Because then the Aspen can be like 2 stages, 3 stages of drive just by itself. So yeah, I mean, things to think about. But yeah, if y'all rock with this live format, let me know. I'm gonna try to cut some of this down and do an Aspen One germanium vid. Because when I was looking for it, it must have just released. Because when I was looking for any videos about the Aspen One, I did not see a single one. And then on the website today, as I was looking for like a digital version of the manual, one popped up from Pedal of the Day, which was great. That was a good primer. And of course, there's like a bunch of videos on the Aspen proper, right? But there were none on the boost. I mean, it's a boost, so it's like, yeah, it's a knob that when you hit it, it makes it louder. But like, I don't know, the boosts are an integral part of my tone. So for me, they're just as, if not more important than overdrives. So trying to find some information about the boost specifically on the Aspen One was difficult. It's supposedly they've got like these vintage germanium diodes, or I guess they're transistors, not diodes. It's got the germanium transistors, same as the Benson preamp. I don't know if they're the same transistors, but they sound very similar to each other, considering one is before and one's after. I think having just even if you were to like have 2 Benson boosts, right? Like one before and one after the Solodallas. I think the Solodallas going into the Benson is an interesting sound, and I think that the boost on the Aspen going into the Solodallas is also interesting, and the boost coming off of the Bloom is interesting. So there to me, there is like the way that I gain stage this stuff, as you can kind of hear, is like light boost that will lift the whole signal and drive everything that comes after. So I use that for if I'm playing single coils. I either increase the volume here or I push the boost button and just give everything a lift. And then the bell has that like light to stage 1 crunch. The Morning Glory is like stage 1, stage 1.5. The Moonshine side of the double barrel is like stage 2, kind of. The Aspen is definitely stage 2 for me. And then the boost takes that into stage 3 lead territory, running into the command drive, which is my stage 1, but is always on. And then the boost just gives you a lift at the end of the chain that like lets everything that comes before it. It's a boost that the boost at the end of the chain makes everything that comes before it lift a little bit. So having a boost in 3 different stages, one in the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end, really does help lift my tone out of the obscurity of where it is at any given moment. So I dig it. I like the way that this board is set up. This I love the double barrel. I really do. It's a hard pedal to like shake off the board because it is so versatile and it sounds so good. But we're gonna try a couple more drives. We're gonna try the like a color sound sound driver and a like the last light and the RX sound driver from what is the name of that company? Sound of Justice, the RX overdriver from Sound of Justice. And then we're gonna try the daily driver with the boost, and then we'll have 5 boosts on the board if we get that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that would be 5. Yeah, crazy, insane amount of boost on the board. Maybe I shouldn't get the boost, but no, I feel like anything with any double pedal is more useful than a single pedal, even though sometimes I wish that I had broken up the double barrel. But yeah, I think ultimately Aspen One Germanium going on the board, Kilt 10 on standby, Kilt V2 is retired. But one of the things about having pedals around is like you never know, 1, when you're gonna need them again, and 2, you never know when you're gonna need them to sell. So I'm gonna hold on to both of my Kilt V2s for a while, and the Kilt 10 is definitely making its way onto a different board, either the sideboard or the baseboard, one of the two. Maybe I'll use it as a fuzz. Because I'm still I don't know, I'm still getting used to the fuzz thing. But anyway, if you stuck with this video, I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, all the YouTube things. I will not tell you to purchase anything. I will only say that the Kilt 10 booted the Kilt 2 off my board, and the Aspen One Germanium has booted the Kilt 10 off my board. So do with that information what you will. I think I'm gonna try to do some more of these, not live. Maybe I did it live because I didn't feel like recording. I just felt like let me ramble and then I'll cut it up later. but we might actually have to do a more in-depth look at the Aspen One, since it has become the captain now. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm getting tired. But I'll catch y'all on the next one. I appreciate you for your patience and hanging out with me. Ignore my bad notes as I was playing. Yeah, maybe I'll do a more polished. Yeah, I'll probably do a more polished video on the Aspen. But yeah, I just wanted to get something out because there's really nothing on the Aspen One right now. But there's plenty on the Aspen OG, I guess the V1 or V2, whatever their naming configuration is. But if you have any questions about any of the drives on the board, or how I like run like delay and reverb and stuff, or anything else about the board, just let me know. I'm thinking, I don't know why I did that. I'm thinking that maybe I'll make a more polished version of this whole thing. Not just, cutting it up, but like redoing it and making it a little more polished. But anyway, let me know how you feel about that. If you want to hear more samples of anything, let me know. I can do another video with some of this other stuff. I think I want to do like a little bit more of a. I don't really need to do an explainer of the Solodallas because the Kenyon Reed video is really good, and there's been a bunch of other people talking about it. But like, it really has become an always on sort of pedal for me. It's a staple now, and I think it'll make its way onto any board that I make in the future. And I kind of feel the same way now about the Aspen One. It's smaller. Oddly enough, it's small. It's only like slightly larger than the Kilt, and it's about the same size. If you turn it sideways. So yeah, I think that will save a little bit of space because it's actually a little tinier. It's pretty tiny, all things considered. Considering how much sound it's putting out, especially if you look at it right next to the Solodallas, it's crazy how much bigger this is. Or how much bigger it feels. But yeah, top mounted jacks. More pedal companies do that, please. That's the other weakness of all of the Kilts. A lot of the other JHS pedals have the top mounted jacks, even like the Emperor and some of the other stuff that I have of theirs has the top mounted jacks, but not the Kilt. And I feel like that is a missed opportunity. But it's never stopped me from putting it on a board before, and it won't stop me now. I just really do like the way that the Aspen sounds. Yeah, I don't know anything about magic diodes or magic transistors, but what I will say is that there is a slightly more smooth character than the V10, but there is more gain on tap, so it still gets real fuzzy. So if you like that, then check the germanium one out. If you want a more standard Kilt experience, they do make a silicon diode one that is also a little bit cheaper. So check that out if you are into that, or don't buy anything, whatever. We've only got a limited amount of money in this capitalist hellscape, so let's have some fun while we can. Yeah, I dig it. I like holding the Kilt too. Makes me go, oh, I remember when I got this. And I remember all the gigs that it's been on. And I keep stuff in pretty good shape, but even this guy's gotten some battle scars and stuff. Yeah, man, it's hard to believe it's been 10 years since the Kilt came out. And it's hard to believe that there are other builders that are making uh, equal, if not better, circuits of the same ilk. Uh, Man, yeah, I'm kind of, on the one hand, I like the idea of like, let's not produce these things at scale. Let's just, like, hand make them, hand wire them, do all of the stuff, and yeah, charge about the same for them as the manufactured ones, and you know yeah. But on the other hand, it's like, man, you know, long term, how does that stack up? I could walk into a Guitar Center and buy a kilt right now. Um, if something happens to the Aspen, then we have to order another one. Yeah, it's just something to think about. Same thing with any of these things. Like, the reason that I like to have a double, at least of most things, is because, if something happens, then you're set. Like, I bricked my HX Stomp XL the other day. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing that I have another Helix thing. Like, I have the HX effects, and it's like, oh, I'm glad that I have an extra thing that I can replace it with. But it is very, like, years of, like, all of this stuff is years of finding deals at used stores, and uh shout out Music Around in Virginia Beach, my guys over there, because they've been a lifesaver, boy, let me tell you. um but yeah, I think that I am very happy with the way that most of this sounds. This is kind of the only link that is shaky. But yeah, I think I do still like the Bluesbreaker thing. And I was thinking about maybe the Brothers AM by Chase Bliss, or a little bit smaller and lighter, the Duke of Tone, the MXR Duke of Tone, something like Analog Man approved. Of course, I could always just go with the Morning Glory again. But I think like an actual blues breaker this time, or maybe a I say an actual blues breaker, maybe like the King of Tone this time, or like something in that ilk. I think the Brothers is really neat. But I'm also thinking about the color driver, and the daily driver, because guitar players whose tone I like are kind of in that mode right now, and I think yeah, for me, the Aspen kind of checks all the boxes that even the Kilt 10 left wanting. So, still one of the most versatile overdrives on the market, period. But yeah, something, man. Something's in there. I don't know. It sounds good. All right. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, and I'll see you next time.